Are you applying to a university, to a scholarship program, or some other kind of work certification program in the United States? Did you know that having an incorrectly translated or processed document could ruin your entire application or delay it for months? Today, I'm going to show you everything that you must know about making sure your academic transcript evaluations go smoothly and that it has the highest chance of being accepted the first time. Hi, I'm Jason Ellinger from TaikaTranslations, and for over 14 years, my organization has been helping people integrate their academic transcript evaluations into the United States work system, helping them to develop professionally and make sure their education is transferred in a way that gives them the most credit for the time they've spent in their education abroad. And throughout our time helping people process their content, we've seen thousands of people struggle through the process unnecessarily just because they didn't know a few important steps along the way. By the end of this video, you'll have a great understanding of how to work through and how to navigate the process of academic transcription evaluation in the United States, what trusted evaluation services are in the United States that you should actually be paying attention to, and have confidence that you can trust them with your personal information. And we're gonna help you avoid common application pitfalls along the way. By the end of this video today, I hope you will feel completely confident in your ability to submit your documents correctly the first time, ultimately increasing your chances of them being accepted and you being able to take that next step professionally. So let me begin by kind of outlining why so many applications get rejected or delayed. All right, so many of the applications we have seen get delayed because there are errors either in the application or their omissions in the transcript evaluation. So now evaluation agencies such as WES, ECE, FIS, they process applications on an annual basis for thousands and thousands of people around the world. Approximately 20% of these applications initially face some sort of delay, rejection, or processing challenges. And that's what we're going to try to give you the best chance of helping you avoid. Some common issues are these: missing or incomplete documents, inaccurate or incomplete translations, non-certified or non-notarized documents that are required to have certification and notarization, a lack of awareness about specific institutional requirements. So, understanding evaluation services. Now here's the scoop. So academic evaluations exist primarily to ensure a fair and consistent evaluation of the education that you have gone through abroad. And these evaluations help U.S. institutions for education accurately assess and understand where you are in your process of educating yourself. They help the U.S. institution identify where you are and then put you in the correct place in the process of ensuring that you complete all of your educational journey on time and with the correct courses. Think about it. U.S. schools get thousands of different types of grading formats as they evaluate who could come in and what placement they should be as they integrate into the new professional system and education system. Evaluation companies, they help standardize the transcripts into a single language. Like, think about it. Schools literally have to analyze thousands of different types of grading systems. But before that content ever gets to the school, they need to make sure that somebody has evaluated that with a comprehensive understanding of what the grading and evaluation systems and credit allocation systems are in those countries where the documents are coming from. And that's why an evaluation company such as FIS, EVE, or WES is so important in helping you to be able to transfer all of the current system where the documents were generated to the United States system, where we're going to convert it into the US format. And in some circumstances, the evaluation company will even evaluate the work experience and internship programs that you've been through to make sure that those also correctly identify in the new country that you're migrating to, which in this case is the United States. In other circumstances, evaluations companies will help to evaluate your experience to determine educational equivalences based on regulatory guidelines that the clients are seeking to meet for U.S. immigration requirements. For example, the H-1B visa petitioners. If your evaluation of your transcripts and your work documentation is incomplete in any way, you may have a complete rejection or delay in the processing of your content simply because no one can take responsibility for all of your personal information except for you. And nobody in these evaluation organizations is going to take that responsibility on themselves to make sure that you have all the documentations required. They simply will take the evaluation, let you know what is required, and then it's up to you to provide each and every one of those documents to make sure that the receiving entity gets what they need to accept you into their professional program. So here's a practical example. Maria from Brazil wants to go study for her master's degree in the United States. She submits her documentation to a NACES affiliated evaluation agency, someone like FIS or the evaluation company. These agencies will assess her transcripts, her grades, and convert all of those to United States system. After that, they will send the officially converted information directly to the school of choice or wherever it is that they're submitting their application. All right, so different types of evaluation explained. That's what we're going to talk about in this section. You need to know exactly which one you need, and hope by the time we get through this segment, you'll be able to clearly understand that. So a document by document evaluation or a document by document report evaluates each foreign academic program to determine its corresponding U.S. educational equivalent. These reports are a little bit simpler than course by course evaluations, but they do include all the basic criteria expected by potential employers, schools, universities, and licensing boards, including accreditation, recognition, program durations, dates of studies, and entrance requirements for getting into that educational program. For an additional fee, the report may be modified to include a cumulative grade point average for the entire program or degree program that you have gone through. Because a lot of these countries, they don't provide that. They simply give you a grade for each course. So basically, it provides a summary of your educational qualifications, and it makes it suitable for employment purposes and general academic application. All right, the next option is a course by course evaluation. A course by course evaluation is where they actually do a specific course by course evaluation of all the foreign academic programs to determine its U.S. corresponding educational equivalent. These reports are far more detailed than document by document evaluation. In addition to discussing institutional accreditation, recognition and program duration, dates of study, and entrance requirements, this comprehensive report includes a listing of all of the coursework completed within each individual program. So in short, the course by course evaluation offers a detailed analysis of individual grades, courses, credits, and calculated GPA for each subject and the overall academic experience. And the course by course evaluation is required by most universities for admission to undergraduate or graduate programs. Here's a couple really short examples. Carlos from Mexico, he needs to submit himself and all of his content for a simple employment verification. So just going through the simple process, doing employment verification, he can do the document by document evaluation and submit that, which quickly summarizes his degree, his level of education, and the fact that he went to school somewhere. Meanwhile, Anna from India, she wants to complete her master's work in a United States university, and she's going to have to submit a very detailed class by class evaluation to the school with her GPA for each subject and the overall GPA of the work, along with the durations and types of classes that she took to make sure that those align with the classes in the United States. And the evaluation company is going to be able to help her understand exactly how each of those fits in to the school of her choice. So now that you understand the different types of academic transcript and diploma evaluations, let's look at a detailed checklist of documents that you're going to need. First, it's also important to note that these documents can vary significantly depending on the evaluation agency, academic organization you're submitting to, or the organization that you're submitting to altogether, if it's not an academic agency. So you always have to confirm with the specific entity or school or agency to make sure that you're meeting their specific requirements. But in the majority of cases, these are the documents that you're going to need: the original transcripts and diplomas, certified copies of those transcripts and diplomas, official translation of those transcripts and diplomas, and your personal certificates and documentation. All of these documents must be official documents and sealed from your academic institution. They must all have authenticated copies, official stamps, and signatures from the administration from your university or school that you attended. They must all have certified translations into English, and this must be done by a professional translation agency. They must include the professional translation certification, contact information, and signature of the certifying organization. So on the screen now, I'm going to show you really quickly how a transcript actually looks, and also a sample of the certificate provided to us from our linguists. Something to note is that some agencies may require notarized translations, meaning the documents must be officially verified by a notary public to authenticate the validity of the signature of the signer of the certifier. If you need that done, Taika, my company, can help you with that. Now, apostleship versus notarization versus translation certification. What the heck is the difference and when do I need what? I'm going to do a breakdown of this for you so that you can understand what you probably need for your specific situation. So a quick side note on this is that these terms confuse almost everyone. So don't feel bad if that's you. And here's a very simple breakdown so that you can understand it. Translation certification. What is that? It's a signed document from a translation agency attesting to the accuracy and completion of the content that has been translated into the target language, into the language that you're trying to get something translated into. So who asks for this? Almost all the agencies, WES, ECE, FIS, the evaluation company, the USCIS, basically any organization where you're submitting your documentation to. This is a way that they guarantee that the documentation that has been submitted to them is accurate and correct, and a third party like TaikaTranslations has guaranteed to them that this is accurate, correct, and complete. So when you need it, anytime you submit a translated document to any official entity. And why is this so important? Because it certifies the translation accuracy. It doesn't certify the original document or where the document came from. It simply certifies that all the content in this document is actually a clear and accurate manifestation of what was created in the source document in the country wherever it came from. All right, moving on to notarization. What is notarization? So a notary public verifies that the person signing the document is who they say they are and legally signed that document, fully aware of the consequences of signing that document. All right, so who asked for this? Some school boards, evaluation agencies, government entities. Occasionally, some legal entities will ask for affidavits of accuracy for translation content. So a key point for this, it authenticates who actually signed the document, not the actual academic validity of the document. So the last but not least is apostleship. The apostille. What is an apostille? So apostille is an international authentication under the Hague Convention on all public documents that are under the Hague Convention, that participate in the Hague Convention. And this is anything from birth certificates to diplomas to marriage certificates to divorce decrees. Basically any state or government issued document from a Hague Convention participating country so that it can be certified and accepted in another Hague Convention participating country. And the US, as well as many other countries around the world, participate and agree to the terms under the Hague Convention. So you can find a list online very easily if you just type the Hague Convention. What are the participating countries of the Hague Convention? You can find that online and see if your country is one of those that participate in that, the apostille certification authentication program. So who needs apostille documents? This is a little bit more rare. So for evaluations, it's kind of rare. You typically don't need that. Some universities, state boards, and when you're going through the immigration process, they do a lot of times, if not in the US, internationally, they request apostille documents or apostille certificates. So when do you actually need an apostille document? If the receiving institution explicitly states that they need the documents apostilled upon submission, that's when you will need to make sure that you have an apostille document submitted with your packet. Apostille documents are on a little bit higher level and typically they take a little bit longer to process. So if you're going to need apostille documents, you need to start that process earlier than all of the others. The certificate of translation of accuracy and the notarization, those are quick and easy, but an actual apostille document will take some time. So make sure if you're submitting an application that you're taking it into account the time it will take to process an apostille document. So a key point for the apostille is it authenticates the origin of a public document across countries. It does not authenticate the translation of that document. Simply authenticates that yes, this is a valid and accurate document from the submitting country. So certification of translation proves that the translation is accurate. Notarization verifies the signature, and an apostille authenticates a public document internationally. Different tools for different needs. Only use them when the school or agency you're submitting to asks specifically requests it. All right, so before I move on to the step-by-step academic evaluation process so that you can understand what you need to do in order to submit your documents, I just wanted to mention here that if you are going through the enrollment process and you need translation, certification, and notarization of any of those documents that you're submitting for any of your academic school transcripts, or perhaps you're opening an company in a different country, or maybe you're working through the process of setting all this documentation and this process up for your son or your daughter, and they're trying to and applying for something abroad, contact TaikaTranslations. We can help you navigate the evaluation process, and we work and partner with the biggest evaluation companies in the United States to help people make sure that each and every day they're getting their documents accepted where they're applying for school within the United States or for other purposes. We've been working on translation, certification, notarizations, and processing people and helping people work through the process of getting these evaluations done for over 14 years. And we work with the most experienced and respected evaluation companies in the United States to do that. And for that matter, we help you process all of your personal documents for translation, notarization, or certification for any area of your life, that whether you're submitting your documentation to USCIS or whether you're submitting your documentation to the school or new employer in a foreign country. So for any legal purposes or any foreign submissions, contact TaikaTranslations.com and we'll help you initiate the process and make sure you're connected with who you need to be connected to so that your next application is most likely to get accepted and the process goes as smooth as possible. And if there's any technical cases or technical terms that are required, reach out to us and we will make sure that those are properly translated and properly manifested in the target language or to the target audience to make sure that you look as professional as possible in their eyes as you're submitting your content. And you can do all of that by going to www.TaikaTranslations.com to get your translation request in our online store, or you can speak to us in person either by writing us an email at projects@TaikaTranslations.com or call us at 210-627-5987 and we'll jump on a call with you to help you work through whatever it is that you're working through regarding your next processing of your documents, translation, document translation, interpretation abroad, or the actual certification, notarization of all of those types of things. All right, so let's move into a step-by-step explanation of the academic evaluation process. All right, so the very first step is choosing the right evaluation service. Our company partners with some of the most highly respected evaluation organizations in the world. In the United States, there is an organization called NACES, and they certify evaluation companies, that people who are processing your personal documents and making sure that the evaluation process is fair and equitable. And so as you choose an evaluation organization to help you navigate the process, you're going to have to choose one, and you're going to have to work with a translation organization to make sure your documents are processed correctly, which is why I'm making this video, because I own a translation company and I want to make sure that people who are processing their document have as much success as possible in their new environment. So first and foremost, always check the school's website to make sure what the evaluation company is doing for you matches the evaluator checklist. There's a lot of evaluation companies out there and they have a different process for processing your documentation. And if the way they do business doesn't align with the school, then you're going to have to make sure that you follow up and get those last documents or those last steps of the process done. So I recommend working with a NACES certified evaluation company, such as the Evaluation Company or FIS, Foundation for International Services, to help you work through the process of getting your documents certified. We process documents for each of these companies every single day, helping students around the world get their documents translated, notarized, and processed further. And if you have any questions about that, please contact us today and we'll help you get connected with the right person. Evaluations typically take between 4 and 20 days. So be careful to plan in advance to make sure that you have enough time to submit your package to the receiving agency. The cost is generally $90 to $250, and there are expedited services available, but of course, those cost additional fees, so be prepared for that. So in preparing the documents, you have to gather all of your official transcripts and all the certified copies and the professional translations of those documents so that they can process them. So some evaluation companies, they don't actually do any translations. Some do say they do both, and we work with processing those documents for those agencies. Carefully review all the information in your documents to make sure your name, the dates that you took the courses, or the date you were born actually matches all of your identification documents to ensure that there's no formatting errors, there's no errors in the original transcripts, or if questions arise later, you're able to very easily and quickly verify and answer those questions for the evaluating agency. Because if any small detail is out of alignment or doesn't make sense to the evaluator, it's going to cause a delay. Very important for you as you work through gathering your documents, making sure that everything is already perfectly correct. And if it's not, go to the agency that produced that document, make sure you get a corrected copy, and then take the process forward from there. So if you've gathered your documents, your identification documents, your transcript documents, and your diplomas, gather them up and submit them to our team, and let us know that you're working through the process of getting these evaluated for submission to your United States education entity. And we'll help you start working through the process of getting that done, and even connect you with an evaluator to make sure that you can get the process started in applying for and evaluating your documents. And these documents can all be submitted electronically, which is the good news. So all you have to have is an electronic version or an ability to make them electronic. And then you simply need to track the progress to make sure that all the documents you submitted were returned to you, were notarized or apostilled, or whatever the case may be for those specific documents on your side. And our team has a tracking process for those documents to make sure that all the documents have been signed, sealed, and delivered to you, as well as the evaluation companies. They have a process to track all of your documents to make sure that everything you submitted was done correctly and in the time you requested it to be done, and submitted back to you the way you requested it. All right, so here's some common pitfalls that you can avoid as you work through the process of evaluation of your school transcripts and submission of them. So the number one is either missing or incomplete documentation. When you're submitting your documents, be sure to do the very first step, which is review all of the documents and all of the content in those documents to make sure everything is correct. If one date is out of alignment, if there is a graduation date that's missing, if there is a name that's misspelled, it's not going to be okay. We have to get those corrected before we start the process. The second biggest problem is making sure it was translated by a professional organization, just like TaikaTranslations. Errors in your translation from a non-professional translator or friend that just knows 2 languages could cost you months of evaluation delays. Be careful to make sure that the translation that was done can be certified by a certified translator, and that it will be accepted by the institution or agency that you're submitting those documents to. TaikaTranslations gives a 100% guarantee on all of our certifications and certificates of accuracy, so you never have to wonder if it was done right. After the translations have been completed, make sure they're reviewed thoroughly to ensure that nothing was left out, and that's what we help you with. We make sure all of our translation certifications and documents have been reviewed by a professional linguist and a professional quality assurance team member to make sure that nothing is left out. And if something is left out, or if there's a question in some of those documents, we will make sure to bring that to your attention so that we can get it corrected before any further delays, expenses, or problems along the application journey come up. So the third most common issue, and this is the last one of the big 3, is to make sure that your academic institution that you're leaving is aware that you're applying for education abroad, and that they are ready to respond in the event that there's a verification request. If the evaluation organization is making a request on your behalf to make sure that those records are correct and accurate, that they actually know that you're applying abroad, and that they will respond on your behalf to ensure that the process doesn't get delayed. And for that matter, while you're going through the process, you should keep regular contact with your current school's registrar office so that they at least know your name, or they at least are aware of your application. Okay, so here are some frequently asked questions. Do I need evaluation of my transcript if my transcript is already in English? Usually, yes. The language is not the issue. Equivalency is. All right, next question. How long is my evaluation valid? So it's typically valid for 2 to 5 years from when you completed the evaluation. But you have to confirm with your school that you're submitting to make sure if there's any change in that acceptability period. 3, can I choose any evaluator? Most schools accept any NACES affiliated member, but some schools have a specific list of other preferred agencies. So you should at least check to make sure if your school has a specific evaluation agency that they prefer. And we can work with any evaluation agency in processing those requests as well. All right, so at this stage, you should have a pretty comprehensive understanding on how to handle academic transcript evaluations. If you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments below. We will help you answer them. We'll refer you to who you need to talk to, or will help you find the information that you need so that you can move things forwards. Don't risk delays, rejections. Make sure you trust experts. Trust evaluation experts and translation experts along your journey, because that guarantees that you will have all the information organized in a way that is acceptable to the organizations that you're submitting to, so that you had the best chance of being accepted and processed into their program. At TaikaTranslations, we specialize in certified translation of transcript documents. We process thousands every single year, and they completely comply with the university's requirements, the USCIS requirements, or any organization where you actually need to submit those. We also work with the top evaluation companies in the United States, and we partner with NACES affiliated evaluation services. Visit our online store today at www.TaikaTranslations.com to order your translations directly. If you need any assistance or have any questions, we will provide you many of the answers just for free by emailing projects@TaikaTranslations.com today. We can guide you through the process and even connect you with a trusted evaluation expert for you that's required by your school. So leave your comments or questions in the box below, and we'll be sure to get back on any questions that you have about studying in the US to help you be more successful in your submissions and confident about working through the process. And we'd really appreciate it if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tips on studying in the United States.